Hey, it's that Car Girl, and today we're going to be taking a look at the One Piece TCG Starter Deck 25. This is a blue deck with Buggy as the leader. Like always with these starter decks, it lets you know on the back what you're getting in the box. It also has a lovely bullet list with all the disclaimers and fast info about this starter deck that a lot of people probably don't read. But let's go ahead and get into this box and check it out. We have the play sheet, our brick consisting of the leader card, 50 card deck, and 10 Dawn cards, and our OP11 booster pack. Hans will be opening that up after we make it through our deck and upgrades. So, let's get to it! Like usual, the deck is wrapped up with the leader card on top and the 10 Dawn cards on the bottom, making a deck sandwich. Let's get to looking at this deck. Starting with the 4 Emperors and Cross Guild type leader Buggy, who has 5 life and 5,000 power. Then we have 2 copies of the 8 cost, 7,000 power Crocodile and Mihawk. 2 copies of the 4 cost, 1,000 power Buggy with a 1k counter. 2 copies of the 4 cost, 5,000 power Alvida with a 1k counter. 4 copies of the 4 cost, 1,000 power Kabaji with a 2k counter. 4 copies of the 4 cost, 1,000 power Moji with a 2k counter. 4 copies of the 5 cost, 6,000 power Alvida with a 1k counter. 4 copies of the 5 cost, 5,000 power Kabaji with a 2k counter. 4 copies of the 10 cost, 12,000 power Buggy. 4 copies of the 5 cost, 5,000 power Moji with a 2k counter. 4 copies of the 2 cost, 2,000 power Richie with a 1k counter. 4 copies of the 5 cost, 7,000 power Mr. 1 Das Bonez with a 1k counter. 4 copies of the 1 cost, 2,000 power Mr. 3 Galdino with a 1k counter. 4 copies of the 7 cost, 8,000 power Buggy. 4 copies of the 1 cost event card Cross Guild. And of course, our 10 Dawn cards. Now, let's take a closer look at these cards. Our leader Buggy's effect can be used during your main phase. You can rest 5 Dawn cards and trash 1 card from your hand to be able to play 1 Cross Guild type character from your hand. And then we have our 2 big searcher cards. Mr. 3 Galdino on play lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal either a Cross Guild type card or a card that has a type including Baroque Works aside from Mr. 3 and add it to your hand, putting the other cards at the bottom of your deck in whichever order you want. The Cross Guild event card can be played during your main phase to let you look at your top 4 cards, reveal 1 Cross Guild type card to put in your hand, and place the rest of the cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. If you get this card from your life cards, its trigger is the same effect. The 5 cost Alvida lets you play 1 character card that costs 5 or less besides Alvida from your hand when she is KO'd, so long as your leader is a Cross Guild type, which Buggy is. The 5 cost Moji has you on play, look at the top 5 cards from your deck and reveal up to 1 Richie and add it to your hand. You place the other 4 cards on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then you play up to 1 Richie from your hand. So it's a searcher card for a specific card. And this is that card. This is the only blue Richie right now, and he's a blocker, so Moji essentially lets you search out a blocker card and play it for free. But Moji is good for more than just that, because the 5 cost Kabaji cannot be KO'd in battle if you have a Moji or a Buggy character in play. Mr. 1 Das Bonez is just a base card with no effect. The 10-cost Buggy has an on-play effect that lets you place up to one of your opponent's characters at the bottom of their deck. Then, if you don't have 5 cards that cost 5 or more out, you place this card at the bottom of your deck. This 7-cost Buggy started out its life as a promo card that came in the Weekly Shonen Jump manga issue 46 of 2024. Now it's available for anyone who can get their hands on this starter deck. And this card is what makes this deck so fun, I think. On play, you can play up to one cross-skill type character that costs 6 or less from your hand. The fun part though is the fact that this card cannot attack, and if your leader is Buggy, all the characters that are 3 or 4 cost cannot attack. And yes, that includes your opponent's characters as well. Now, if you didn't know, this leader and all the cards we've talked about so far are reprints. We do get 5 new cards for this deck though. Let's take a look at them. We've got our 4-cost Buggy that has an effect that you can activate during your main phase. You trash 1 card from your hand and this card. Then, since your leader is Buggy, you can play 1 cross-skill type character that has a cost of 6 or less out of your hand. So, if you have this card on the board and you play the promo Buggy we were just talking about, you can trash a card out of your hand to be able to switch this out for a card that does not have a cost of 3 or 4 so it can attack. We have our 4-cost Alvida, who on play lets you draw 3 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand, and so long as you have 2 or more 5-cost plus characters in play, she gains 1 cost, making her a 5-cost. The 4-cost Kabaji gains 5,000 power during your opponent's turn, and as long as you have 2 or more characters with a base cost of 5 and up, becomes a blocker and gains plus 1 cost. With the 4-cost Moji, so long as your leader is Buggy and you have 3 cards or less in your hand, you draw a card when he is KO'd. Also, if you have 2 or more base cost 5 or more characters, he is a blocker and gains 1 cost. So, these 3 cards have built-in ways to let them still attack when you have that 7-cost Buggy out, that otherwise would not let them attack. I love that they took that into consideration when designing these cards to add to this deck. Crocodile and Mihawk has an on-play effect that has you draw 2 cards and then trash 1 card from your hand. Then you can play a cross-skill type character that costs 4 or less from your hand. And once per turn, if a character with the cross-skill type would be removed by an effect of your opponent's, you can trash a card from your hand instead. Now, that's it for the cards included in the starter deck. Time to move on to some upgrade options. Starting with the 1-cost stage card, Empty Bluffs Island from OP09. This stage lets you put 2 cards from your hand at the bottom of your deck in whichever order, rest this stage, and then draw 2 cards if your leader is cross-skill type, which Buggy is. Moving on to event cards, we have the no-cost Gum Gum Rain from OP02. It's a counter card that has you trash a card from your hand, so your leader or 1 character can gain 3,000 power for that battle. So there's no Dawn cost, but a hand cost instead. If you pull this from your life cards, the trigger lets you return a character that costs 2 or less to the owner's hand, be it your card going back to your hand or your opponent's card going back to their hand. 6-cost Gum Gum Red Rock comes from OP04 and can be used during your main phase to place 1 character at the bottom of the owner's deck. So again, this could be one of your opponent's characters or one of yours. And there's no cost restriction on what character you pick. The life draw trigger is similar, but does have a cost restriction. You can put 1 character that costs 4 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. 2-cost Love Love Mellow comes out of Starter Deck 2 and is a counter card. You get to give your leader or one of your characters plus 4,000 power for the battle. Then, if you have 3 or fewer cards in your hand, you get to draw a card. 7-cost Gravity Blade Raging Tiger from OP06 can be used during your main phase to let you place up to 2 characters that cost 6 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Whoever the owner of the cards is gets to decide the order they're placed at the bottom of the deck, and does not have to share that order with their opponent. The life draw trigger for this lets you place 1 character that costs 5 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. 3-cost Sanji's Pilaf from OP03 helps you get more cards into your hand. It lets you draw 2 cards during your main phase. If you get it from your life cards, you get the same effect. This one's nice because most cards that have you draw also have you return some cards to your deck, but this one does not. Hope from EVO2 has a cost of 2 and a main phase effect. You look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal 1 card costing 4 or more, and add it to your hand. Then you return the other cards to the bottom of your deck. It's got the same effect if you pull it from your life cards. Moving on from event cards, we have the 6-cost, 7,000 power Dracul Mihawk from OP09, who is a blocker and on play lets you draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. Crocodile is 7-cost, 7,000 power and has a 1k counter. He comes from OP09 as well. His on-play effect lets you play one 5-cost or less character with the cross-build type or a type including Baroque Works from your hand. Mr. 1, Daz Bonez, from EVO1 has a cost of 5, 6,000 power, and a 1k counter. He does have a provision where he gains 1,000 power for every 2 event cards in your trash if your leader's type includes Baroque Works, which Buggy does not. So this would not apply to him for this deck. But you can still reap the benefits of his on-play effect that lets you draw 2 cards and trash 1 from your hand. Now on to some cards that aren't cross-build type or have Baroque Works in their name. We have Marguerite from OP07. She is 3-cost, 2,000 power, and a blocker with an on-play effect that lets you draw 1 card. Charlotte Pudding here is out of OP06 and has a cost of 4, 4,000 power, and a 1k counter. On play, this card causes your opponent to put all of the cards from their hand back into their deck, shuffle it, and then draw 5 cards. A great card to play if your opponent looked a little too giddy after their last draw. Jozu here is 6-cost, has 7,000 power and a 1k counter, and is from OP08. On play, you return one of your characters besides this one to your hand, and then return one of your opponent's 6-cost or less characters to their hand. A good way to get an on-play effect again for yourself. Just keep an eye on if the card you're choosing for your opponent has an on-play effect as well. The OP10 4-cost, 5,000 power, 2k counter Sabo makes it where if your opponent used as an effect that would remove a character with a base cost of 7 or less from your field, you can return this card to your hand instead. And since it goes back to your hand, if you have the 4 Dawn to do so next turn, you can get it back out there on the board to do its job again. It's a great protector card that you can just keep on using. From OP05, we have the 10-cost, 12,000 power Kaido with an on-play effect that lets you draw 4 cards if your opponent is down to 3 or less life cards. A big hitter that will help move more cards into your hand. Kaya has a cost of 1, no power, but a 2k counter. She's from OP03 and lets you draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand on play. And that's it for the upgrade cards for Starter Deck 25. I love how this deck starts out kind of tame, and then once you get that Once Upon a Time promo Buggy onto the board, the whole game changes. Limiting it to where nobody can attack with a 3 or 4 cost card, but having cards in your deck that can work around that is such a fun concept. I'm excited to get this deck built up for myself so I can play it. Now, let's get to opening up that Fist of Divine Speed booster pack and see if we've got anything fun. No video would be complete without me reminding you that we post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with shorts on Sunday. We focus mainly on One Piece, Pokemon, and Lorcana. Also, make sure you're following us on Instagram at thatcardgirl.tcg. There's a link down below in the description. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tell the next clown you see about us. That Card Girl out!